I freeze in the hallway, one hand steadying me against the wall, the other gripping my bridal magazine so tightly the pages bend and wrinkle. The dining room door is open just a sliver, enough for their voices to slip through. I wasn't supposed to be back this soon. My meeting wrapped up earlier than expected and I thought I'd surprise them. Instead they caught me off guard. She'll cover it all, same as she did with my wedding. Violet's laugh, loud and cutting, slices through the air like glass. That's what younger sisters are for. My parents chuckle in agreement and the sound feels like knives twisting in my stomach. We've already told everyone about the joint event, Mom says, her voice dripping with pride. Dad clears his throat. Your wedding deserves the same spotlight as their anniversary. 5 years is a big deal. My magazine slips from my hands, landing soundlessly on the carpet below. I don't bend to pick it up. I can't move at all. Heat floods my face as my breath comes shallow and sharp. With white knuckles I clutch my purse just to stop my hand from shaking. 5 years of therapy reminding me of my value, gone in a heartbeat. I'm 10 years old again, watching Violet unwrap my birthday presents while everyone cheers for her generosity. I step back carefully, not daring to make a sound. My legs carry me out to my car, where I sink into the driver's seat and stare blankly ahead. The keys hang loosely from my fingers, but I don't start the engine. Not yet. First I need to call Robert. My finger hovers over his name. 3 deep breaths, then I press it. Hey gorgeous, he answers by the second ring. How was your meeting? They're trying to pull it again, Rob. My voice sounds stronger than I feel. But this time I won't allow it. 5 years ago, Violet had announced her engagement to Thomas. 2 weeks later, Dad called me into his study, telling me Thomas had lost his job, and they needed help covering wedding costs. Just for now, he promised. Family comes first, Naomi. His hand was heavy on my shoulder. Your sister needs this. Mom stood in the doorway, arms folded. If you love her, you'll help. I handed over everything. $15,000. My savings. My future. It's only a semester, Mom told me when I had to leave college. You can always return. 3 semesters later, I was still grinding through double shifts, watching my dreams collect dust while Violet twirled in a gown worth more than my car. That night, I swore to myself as Sisters by Rosemary Clooney floated through the speakers. Never again. 2 weeks after, Mom invited us for dinner. Just a casual meal, she said. But I knew better. Her voice had that rehearsed tone it always carried when she was plotting. The good china was on the table. That was never a good sign. Violet and Thomas walked in late like always. Before dinner, Mom announced, once everyone sat down, we've come up with the most wonderful idea. Robert's hand found mine under the table, grounding me as Mom began her speech about symbolism and sharing special days. We thought, she beamed, Naomi's wedding could be joined with Violet and Thomas's 5th anniversary party. Violet slid a folder across the table, neatly color-coded and tabbed. I already started notes. We'll need 2 cakes, of course. A special dance. And I think the colors should match my original wedding. For continuity. Robert's grip on my hand tightened as every eye at the table shifted toward me. They waited for my predictable yes. That automatic answer trained into me since childhood. Let me think about it, I said instead. The silence that followed roared. Mom's smile faltered. Dad blinked too quickly. Violet's mouth opened, then shut again. Think about it? Dad recovered first, patting my shoulder lightly. Always so logical. That's why we know you'll handle the bills. Violet's eyes welled with rehearsed tears. I thought you'd be happy. Mom cast me the look, the one that demanded peace, before handing me the potatoes. Naomi will come around. She always does. I forced a smile and nodded. The perfect daughter. Robert squeezed my hand under the table, a silent show of solidarity. I'm sure it'll be lovely, I said, the words like ashes on my tongue. But inside, a spark of defiance burned hot. One thought seared through the ice in my chest. Never again. Have you ever nodded along while secretly planning your escape? Tell me in the comments below. That evening, I stayed behind under the excuse of gathering some belongings, determined to uncover whatever else they were plotting. The glow of the family computer lit Dad's study as I scrolled through Mom's email. I shouldn't be doing this. But Robert's words rang in my mind. Trust your instincts, Naomi. Something feels off. My heart skipped when I spotted it. An email thread between Mom and Violet titled Vendor Payments, Naomi. I clicked, pulse pounding in my ears. Don't worry about deposits, Mom had written. James and I told everyone Naomi will cover costs once contracts are finalized. My hands shook on the mouse. I clicked deeper. Every message drove another nail into my trust. Screenshots of venues, catering, DJs, all with notes claiming the bride will pay. A ping popped up on Mom's tablet, still logged into her Amazon. I tapped it without thinking and froze. A wedding dress appeared in full color. Not mine. A second gown. Ordered just days ago. The receipt showed my credit card number. I need your bathroom. I texted Robert, our code for urgent calls. He picked up instantly. What happened? They've been planning everything for months. My voice sounded hollow. Violet used my card for another dress, her dream dress. That's fraud, Robert snapped, his calm voice tight with fury. There's more. I put him on speaker, opening my banking app. Remember the deposits I couldn't trace? They weren't deposits. They were withdrawals disguised as payments for wedding costs. My parents told me last week, Robert said after a pause. Someone called, pretending to be your planner, said you wanted a simple ceremony and didn't need their help. The truth snapped into place, sickening and clear. I minimized the email and saw an Excel file on the desktop labeled W plus final budget. Against my better judgment, I opened it. The spreadsheet was perfectly organized, tabs neatly coded. I flipped through, my stomach dropping lower with every entry. Venue $22,000. Catering $15,000. Entertainment $8,000. Flowers $7,000. Photography $6,000. Dresses, plural, $5,000. At the bottom, a total of $63,000. In Violet's signature purple font, one note: Naomi's responsibility. I slumped back in Dad's chair, dizzy. The family photo on his desk. Mom, Dad, Violet, and me at her wedding stared back mockingly. I was smiling then, right after giving up my college fund. Digging further, I stumbled on Mom's journal tucked in a drawer. I had never violated her privacy before, but now I didn't care. I skimmed to the newest entries. Naomi's always been reliable, she'd written. She'll understand this is for family. And yet, on that same day Dad claimed money troubles. A receipt showed his $5,000 golf club renewal. I took screenshots, forwarding everything to my chat. Tomorrow I'll start confronting them all. My phone buzzed the next morning just as I arrived at the office. A message from Jessica, my oldest friend who works at an event planning firm. Call me right away. Violet just reached out claiming she's in charge of your wedding details. I send her the spreadsheet before dialing back. Her outrage confirms what I already suspected. This isn't normal family behavior. They're manipulating you, she says sharply. This is financial control. That evening, Robert's sister Emily drops by our apartment. Unlike me, she managed to free herself from her controlling family years ago. The problem isn't only Violet, Emily explains as we sit in the kitchen. Your mother fuels it all. Look at the pattern. Violet sparks the chaos. Your mother offers the fix, and the price is always your sacrifice. Mrs. Sullivan, my elderly neighbor who sometimes joins us for coffee, nods knowingly. She arrived 10 minutes after Emily. I've seen this play out for years, dear. Your sister demands, your mother assists, your father enforces, and you give in, she says. Not anymore, I whisper, though my voice trembles. The threats begin the following day. Violet calls about a work function at her office. Remember how I helped you land that marketing job? Her tone drips with syrup. Family ties are everything. Speaking of which, have you chosen the venue yet? Dad mentions a possible house down payment if the wedding goes smoothly. Mom casually brings up Grandma's heart attack while talking about stress. You know, heart problems run in our family. She sighs. I already told the aunts about our combined celebration. They're thrilled. That night, I make my first calculated move. I'll be the one signing the venue contract. I tell them over dinner, my voice sounding steadier than I feel. Their quick glance at each other says it all. Back at my place, I cancel the fake dress order and reset every financial password. The small win feels hollow when Violet calls right away. You're being absurd, she snaps. You've put on weight anyway. That gown would have looked better on me. I endure the jabs, the manipulative texts, the endless pressure, the cost of pretending, while I shape my plan. Later that night, alone in the bathroom, I finally collapse. Tears streak down my cheeks as I grip the sink, shoulders shaking with quiet sobs. Robert knocks softly but wisely doesn't come in. I stare at the woman in the mirror, the one trained to be the perfect sacrificial. I splash cold water on my face, wipe my eyes and lift my chin. This is a war and I'll fight it my way with tactics, not feelings, with boundaries. Not bargains. In my reflection I see someone new, rising, someone with steel in her spine and flames in her eyes. What's the hardest boundary you've ever drawn with someone you love? Was it worth it? The next morning my phone buzzes at 7:43 a.m. An unknown number appears with a photo that makes my stomach twist. "Congratulations on your big news," reads the text from someone named Tara. "Can't wait to celebrate both milestones next month." I tap the image and freeze. It's a screenshot of my mother's Facebook post from last night, gushing that we'll be honoring 2 milestones in one celebration. Naomi's wedding and Violet's 5th anniversary. Details to come. 47 comments. 93 likes. Robert rolls over, his eyes half closed from sleep. "Everything okay?" I silently hand him my phone. He bolts upright, fully awake. "They didn't even ask us," I whisper. "Call your mom," Robert says, jaw set tight. "No." She answers on the first ring, her voice overly cheerful. "Good morning, sweetheart. Did you see it?" "Delete it." My voice sounds firmer than I feel. "What? Boss, mom. Take it down. We never agreed to that." He chuckles like I've told a joke. "Oh, Naomi. Everyone's so excited. Your father's golf friends are already planning to attend. It's far too late to change it now." The old heaviness of duty presses on my chest. Too late. Always too late to defend myself. "We'll discuss this later." I manage before ending the call. 3 days later, I'm at Elegance Bridal with Jessica, trying on the simple A-line dress I chose weeks ago. I spin before the mirror, admiring how the ivory fabric glimmers in the light. "It's perfect," Jessica says, snapping a picture. "Timeless but not dull." "Totally you." The bell above the entrance rings. I catch Violet's reflection in the glass as she struts inside, designer shades on her head, Mom trailing after her. "Surprise." Mom chirps, clapping her hands. "We thought we'd join." Jessica shoots me a look that says, "Stick with the plan." I give a faint nod. "How unexpected," I reply, turning toward them. Violet circles me like a predator, her polished finger tapping her chin. "It feels a little plain, doesn't it? Nothing like my Vera Wang." She grabs a flute of champagne from a nearby table. "But I suppose it suits you." "Go on." The shop owner smiles politely. "Would you like to see some veils to finish the look?" Before I can respond, Violet's arm jerks, splashing a stream of red liquid down the front of my gown. The glass smashes to the floor. "Oh no." Violet gasps, hand to her mouth in feigned horror. "I'm so clumsy. Good thing you hadn't paid for it yet." My hands clench into fists as I watch the crimson stains spread across the ivory dress. The boutique owner rushes with club soda, but we all know it's ruined. Mom pats my arm. "Don't fret, dear. Clearly this is fate. We'll find something that matches Violet's anniversary gown." 2 hours later, I sit across from Robert at his office lunch table, my hands still trembling. "They ruined my dress, Rob. On purpose." Robert's eyes narrow darkly. "That's it. No more polite games." "Dad phoned this morning while I was at work," I continue. "They've scheduled a tour at Rosewood Manor for tomorrow. They expect us to sign immediately." Robert squeezes my hand across the table. Then we switch to Plan B. The next day we stand in Rosewood Manor's vast ballroom. Crystal chandeliers hang high from the ceiling. Towering windows reveal pristine gardens. It's dazzling and exactly the kind of grand venue I never wanted. "Perfect for your sister's entrance," Dad beams, patting the manager's shoulder. "And space enough for 200 guests." 200? I repeat. We agreed on 50. Mom waves her hand. "Impossible to trim now. Everyone's already invited." The manager, Mr. Phillips, sets a hefty contract on the table. "If we can get signatures and the deposit today, we'll be fully confirmed for next month's event." Dad whips out his pen. "I'll sign first, then Naomi can." Actually, I cut in, startling everyone, even myself. "My fiancé and I decided both our signatures are required on any contract. That is non-negotiable. Period." The silence that follows feels charged. "What are you saying?" Mom asks, her smile stiff. "Robert doesn't need to deal with these details." It's our wedding, I reply quietly. We decide as one. Violet scoffs. Since when do you decide anything? I pull a folder from my bag. Since I uncovered these. I spread out printouts of unauthorized credit card transactions. Purchases I never approved, charged with my saved card information. Mom's face drains of color. Dad studies the papers, then looks at Violet. You told me she approved those charges, he says slowly. Violet's expression stiffens, her pride unshaken. She always foots the bill, that's her role. But something inside me finally snaps. Years of silence and compliance surge out like a broken dam. You stole my college years, I say, my voice steady and cold. You won't steal my wedding day. Mr. Phillips clears his throat, clearly unsettled. Perhaps I should excuse myself. No need, I reply, reaching toward the paperwork. I'd like to look over the agreement. Dad steps in quickly. Naomi, don't overreact. I've realized real family honors limits. I lock eyes with him firmly. Sign if you wish. I'll cover $6,000 for the deposit. The rest, all $57,000, is yours. Violet's face twists in shock. You can't do this. Everyone already knows. You've always been the dependable one, the responsible one. I still am, I answer. Only this time, I'm being responsible for myself. Dad glances from me to the document, then back again. Something shifts in his features. Surprise and maybe even respect. He signs with less confidence than before. That night, Jessica calls, brimming with excitement. I found the perfect chapel for the real wedding. Small lakeside sanctuary opened the weekend before. And Robert's parents offered their lake house for the reception, I tell her, feeling a surprising ease in my chest. What was the deposit again? Jessica asks. $6,000. A steep price to abandon. I think of years spent yielding, always placing others first. It's my freedom tax, I say. Worth every cent. Later, Robert and I sit cross-legged on the floor, surrounded by plans for our true ceremony, the one only our closest friends will witness. I'm proud of you, Robert whispers, kissing my forehead. I grab scissors from the table, raising them to a strand of hair. The long, sleek style my mother swore was most flattering. What do you think? I ask softly. Time for a change? Robert beams. Definitely. The blades make a sharp snip. Dark strands scatter across the floor. With each cut, I feel unburdened. For the first time, I murmur, watching my reflection shift in the glass. I'm not just their daughter or Violet's sister. I'm choosing to be me. Afterward, I slip into the plain white sundress we ordered online. No train, no sequins, no sweeping veil. Just simple fabric and clean design. This feels like me, I whisper. Not their image of me. Soon Jessica arrives, timeline in hand. Fake wedding at Rosewood, real one at the chapel. I've scheduled everything to the minute. Emily, Robert's sister, brings documents. A friend at her law firm confirmed it. Since your parents signed the contract, they're on the hook. Not you. That night we worked tirelessly, mapping every guest, every detail, every backup plan. I can't believe we're actually pulling this off, I laugh, the sound genuine for the first time in months. Mrs. Sullivan stops in with a tray of cookies, her eyes lined with quiet wisdom. Sometimes the bravest choice is walking away, she says, squeezing my hand gently. I wish I'd had your courage half a century ago. The night before, Violet shows up uninvited. Her eyes narrow at my freshly cut hair. The venue called, she snaps. They need final payment. I smile with calm certainty. It's all taken care of. Tomorrow will be unforgettable. Something in my tone unsettles her. She searches my face for surrender. Finding nothing, she storms out. Once she's gone, I pull a small overnight bag from beneath the bed and pack the essentials carefully. White sundress, new flats, marriage license. Robert leans on the doorway. Ready? He asks. I zip it closed with finality. More ready than ever. Have you ever had to escape something toxic? What gave you the courage to follow through? By morning, a makeup artist brushes powder across my forehead as I check the clock. Perfect timing. I snap a selfie in the bridal robe Jessica borrowed, making sure the plain background hides our real location. Sending the bait? I say to Robert, who's relaxed on the lake house sofa in jeans, mug of coffee in hand. No suit yet. Hours still remain before the real vows. I attach the photo to a group chat. Getting started. Running late but thrilled. Then I add 3 bride emojis and a champagne glass. Exactly the kind of text they expect from me. Mom replies instantly. Guests are arriving. Your father's welcoming the Hendersons now. They're all in place, I tell Robert. The weight of 5 years slips off my shoulders. 200 guests. A $63,000 bill. Robert raises his mug. To freedom. My phone buzzes with Violet's message. Remember, I need you by 11:30 for sister photos. Wear the pearl earrings I chose. I mute my phone and step onto the deck with my true friends, the lake calm below us. Jessica pours mimosas while Sam and Keith hang white lights in the birch trees. Robert's parents arrive with wildflowers and warm embraces that ask nothing in return. How do you feel? His mother asks, holding my hand. Like I can finally breathe. At 10:45 I send another fake photo. Hair finished. Makeup next. About 30 minutes behind. Replies come flooding in. Mom, guests are restless. Should I stall? Dad, the minister can't wait past 3. Hurry. Violet, this is selfish, Naomi. My anniversary party is at risk. I switch to silent mode, sliding into the lace dress I bought myself, not the beaded spectacle Violet chose to match her gown. Ready for our real ceremony? Robert asks, striking in his navy suit. More than ever. At noon, Jessica returns from spying at the country club, laughing uncontrollably. You should see them, she wheezes. Your mom keeps giving excuses. Your dad's drenched in sweat. And Violet, oh God, Violet's telling everyone it's your fault, claiming you insisted on her stylist instead of hiring more. How many guests left? Robert asks. None so far, they're too captivated by the unfolding disaster. It's like watching a formal train wreck. A slow-motion collision in evening wear. At 12:30 I type out one last message. Having a small zipper mishap, go ahead without me. I'll be there in 20 minutes. Then I shut my phone off completely and place my hands in Robert's beneath the arbor by the lake. 20 dear friends gather close as Robert's father begins the ceremony. No one sneaks a glance at their watch, no one dares to text during our vows. No one fights for the spotlight. Meanwhile, across town right on cue, the venue manager is handing my parents a preliminary invoice. The contract they insisted on rushing, the one they were eager to seal, names them as the only parties liable for payment. My $6,000 deposit, carefully recorded, was my sole financial commitment. By this point, Violet has probably discovered that her anniversary gala has transformed into a $63,000 catastrophe. The champagne tower she chose with such care sits untouched. The towering 5-tier cake, topped with her anniversary figurine on the top tier, remains pristine, uncut. Guests murmur behind folded programs, watching the family image collapse. I now pronounce you husband and wife. Robert's father proclaims, his face alight with real joy. As Robert kisses me, the room bursts with cheers from those who truly celebrate our happiness. Later, at our quiet reception dinner, Jessica's phone buzzes with a voice recording. She sets it on speaker. Jessica, this is Eleanor Thompson. Mom's voice trembles, her usual polish cracked. If you know where Naomi is, please tell her this isn't amusing anymore. The venue expects the remaining payment tonight. Her father. Her voice falters. James had to give them his retirement information. Please have her call us immediately. In the background, Violet's shrill voice pierces, likely directed at her husband. What do you mean, what did I do? This was Mom and Dad's idea too. Jessica silences the phone and Robert raises his glass. To my wonderful wife, who gave her family the most unforgettable lesson they'll ever receive. I lift my glass to meet his. Freedom was worth every cent of that $6,000 deposit. Which is worse, I ask our friends, losing $63,000 or losing your self-respect? As laughter ripples around us, I already know my answer. The next morning, right at 10 o'clock, the doorbell rings. Robert squeezes my hand and we share a knowing look. Right on time. Ready? He asks. I nod, straightening the fresh wedding photos we set out on our coffee table the night before. I've been ready for years. When I open the door, Mom stands in front, her eyes swollen and rimmed with red. Dad looms just behind her, his jaw clamped so tight I can almost hear his teeth grind. Violet hovers at his side, her expression twisted somewhere between fury and smugness. How could you do this to us? Mom cries, her tears already flowing. After everything we've sacrificed for you? I step aside silently, gesturing them inside. They file past me, Mom's signature perfume, the one reserved for funerals and confrontations, lingering in the air. Dad stays standing. You're legally accountable for this bill, Naomi. I don't know what stunt you think you're pulling, but it ends now. Tell everyone who you really are. Violet hisses, stabbing a finger toward me. Already told them. Cousin Emma knows you abandoned your own wedding because of some petty grudge. I don't react. Instead, I walk to the dining table where a leather portfolio waits. Robert steps beside me, his presence like armor at my back. I knew this visit was coming. I say, my voice calmer than ever when facing them. I've been preparing for this for a long time. One by one, I take the documents from the portfolio and place them neatly on the table. The motion feels ritualistic, as though setting the pieces of a sacred rite. And in truth it is. What's all this? Dad demands, impatience sharp in his tone. I press play on my phone. Violet's voice floods the room. She'll pay for everything just like she did for my wedding. That's what little sisters are for. Then my parents' unmistakable laughter follows. Their faces blanch in unison. Recording conversations is. Dad begins. Perfectly lawful here with one-party consent. Robert cuts in, his law degree finally proving useful against my family. I slide bank receipts across the table. Proof of my $6,000 deposit, the only sum I ever agreed to. Mom reaches shakily for the papers. But the venue manager said, I have the emails right here. I add, laying out printed exchanges where I clearly limited my financial role. Note the manager's reply, confirming you and Dad, the contract holders, bear the full balance. Violet snatches a sheet. This doesn't prove anything. Maybe this will. I produce screenshots of unauthorized charges, each time stamped precisely. My credit card, Violet, for your second wedding dress. The one you ordered after spilling wine on mine. You always overreact about money, she sneers, though her voice trembles. Dad's face has turned ghostly. Naomi, be reasonable. We can't possibly cover $57,000. I pull out the final letter. My attorney's statement of their liability. The contract carries your signatures. The venue looks to you for the outstanding $57,000. Mom crumples onto the couch, mascara streaking black rivers down her cheeks. How could you do this to your family? I lost $15,000 for Violet's wedding. I reply, the words no longer stuck in my throat. I gave $6,000 this time to finally break free of your control. This isn't revenge. Dad spits, desperation roughening his voice. No, I answer calmly. This is simply the outcome of your choices. Violet's husband, Thomas, silent until now, steps forward. So you did the same thing to her 5 years ago? His words drop like stones in still water. Ripples of silence spread. That was different, Violet stammers, glancing at our parents for support. But something between them has snapped. Mom stares at the table. Dad glares at Violet. And Violet scowls at them both. Your retirement fund, Mom whispers to Dad. I trace the glass, smiling at the truth it holds. Some lessons cost dearly but are worth every penny.